Hello again, Theresa. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's so good to see you. And I can see the sun is shining bright. Aren't we having an amazing month?
We are having a really amazing month. It's amazing how it lifts the mood for everybody. And yeah, I'm certainly feeling on a very positive, glowing literally today in the sunshine. So we're in our second podcast. Yay! I'm particularly pleased actually, Teresa, because just for the audience as well, we met each other face to face in real life for the first time last week. And I'm feeling quite pleased that you've come and joined me again for another chat because it could have gone horribly wrong, but we really continued the usual natural connection face to face, which was amazing.
It was absolutely fabulous. And it's quite great to have had done that, bearing in mind what we're going to be talking about today. And what was so lovely is that we have a lot of energy between us through the screen. We always have done. That's what connected us to each other. And everybody says it. Everybody that meets us through the screen says, God, you two have got so much energy. And then when we met in person, it was still there.
Still exactly the same, so it was amazing. And hopefully we'll be joined with some of our colleagues that we also met face to face who've been listening into the podcast as well. But we're back to talk to each other again. In our last podcast, we talked about connection, which obviously we've got in abundance. So how we as coaches and as people just build relationships, and how you and I had found each other. And then we're going to build on that a little bit further today. We're going to talk to each other about finding the right coach. So it's not just about they look nice on Instagram or we swipe left or swipe right as you do in other apps. This is really about finding the right person for you, and meaning that it's for you at the right time as well. So yeah, we know it's not always just about the instant view physically. It's more about the chemistry that you can build when you speak to each other. Um, but yeah, I think there's a saying that goes, the right teacher appears when the right student is ready as well. So how do you know whether you're ready and that it's the right teacher for you? So hopefully everyone has grabbed a coffee as we kick off, and maybe for me to check with you on. I think you've had some coach, you've been coached before, but maybe to talk a bit about your experience of how did you find your right coach, or how did you find the wrong coach?
Yeah, thank you for that. You're quite right. It's definitely not just about appearance because we're not on a dating app here. We are finding somebody that's going to help us grow, somebody that we're going to allow into our mind, into our mindset, and you're going to make yourself quite vulnerable in order to sort of break yourself down to build yourself back up again, but not in a therapy way. This isn't counselling. We're not trained counsellors. We very much stand in the present and look forward. So I've had a couple of coaches in my career. I had one when I was trying to think of how old I would have been, and maybe I was in my 20s, maybe early 30s, I'm not sure. And I was given this coach, and I was told I need to go and have some coaching with this person. And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt really nervous. I felt quite vulnerable. And when I met this person, we definitely didn't have chemistry. This person was much older than me, so could have been a great mentor because was within the same industry, but I just didn't click. And I think because I'd been told to go on this coaching set, these sessions, my heart wasn't in it. So therefore, my ability to open my mind and let the experiences flow just wasn't there. So that didn't really work for me. And if I'd been a bit older, I probably would have said, this isn't working. Let's end.
Yeah,
Didn't. I did all the sessions and then I had to feed back to my line manager. And it just felt a bit like when you go on corporate fun days, we call it forced fun sometimes, don't we? It's
yeah,
a bit like
yeah.
forced coaching. So that was not great.
No,
Sort
no,
of
I can
the
see
off.
that. It's about that being ready bit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. However, more recently, I've had some amazing coaching with a wonderful coach. And yes, us coaches do have coaches. And the process has been completely different. It has been open. I've been ready to receive. I really researched who I wanted to work with because this is really important stuff. This is about my life. This
Yeah,
is about building my opportunities and building me to be the best version of me. So I very much am in the belief that you surround yourself with the people that reflect who you want to be
yeah,
and how you want to feel.
yeah,
We know that energy is really contagious. And the coach that I work with currently is just amazing. And I love my sessions. I can't wait to get to my sessions. I can't wait to, in that safe space, to just go bleh,
yeah,
and just rebuild and look for the opportunities. Because actually, a lot of it's in here anyway. We just
yeah.
need somebody to help get it out.
It's just about unleashing that potential, isn't it? That it's just ready to go.
Oh, 100%. So, yes, I've had experiences of good and I've had experiences of bad. And I'm hoping that's going to help me going forward in how I coach people. But what about you? I know you've had coaching. How did you choose?
Well, I mean, to be honest, mine came a bit as a recommendation from others. And it was someone who already understood the culture of the organisation I was working in. I thought what was quite interesting, though, when I found my coach, is I went to him thinking I wanted one thing. And then, actually, after the initial conversation, then he sort of peeled back the onion a little bit and actually identified more about what I needed at the time. So it was really, I don't think I really knew until I'd had that very first initial conversation. And it sort of goes with that whole thing of I wanted to be the best I could be, but I'd also almost limited myself in what that ambition was, but it was opened up through having the coaching through a bit of the curiosity from the coach, to be honest. And they were really so helpful in, providing that structured guidance, creating some personal accountability as well. And also really being able to give an alternative perspective, which had been a bit of a blind spot for me. So some of that real direct feedback that was supportive but challenging meant I really felt I'd found the right coach for me at the right time. And I think that was important, maybe, reflecting back on what you'd said of maybe you'd had the wrong person at the wrong time. But they that could have morphed into something different based on that combination of the timing that you look at. And I do think sometimes you can get the right person at the wrong time, or the wrong person comes at the right time. But when you get the right person at the right time, there's something really magical that can happen. So it's yeah, it really is amazing. But yeah, so for me it was about personal recommendation, and I think I just lucked out completely because other people had been saying, yeah, really good coach, and I felt immediately comfortable from that initial session, and maybe a little bit uncomfortable too with it's identified something that I haven't said that I need. But actually, you need to be in that place of being a bit uncomfortable in order to then do your own growth journey as well.
That's
So yeah,
amazing.
it really, really amazing. And for you, you talked a bit about the coaching experience. If you think about as you went through the sort of the impact and the value that it had, how would you distill that into what it meant for you when you came out of finishing your coaching with the right person? Or how do you feel as you've got your ongoing coaching? What is it that's having the big impact at the moment?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely, the right impact from the right coach at the right time, as you were saying there, is
Magic.
about really moving you forward in life,
Yeah,
whether that be life as a whole, or in our case, more often in business goals and what you're trying to achieve. Although I say that with a bit of a caveat because I'm sure you find exactly the same as I do. You're coaching the whole person. And when
yeah,
people come to me and say, "Oh, I want to create better work-life balance," I just say, impossible. We
yeah,
can create better life balance, but work is part of life.
yeah.
So, so it's absolutely the impact for me was opening my mind, like you said, creating vision on those blind spots.
Mm.
sort of breaking you down a little bit and
Yeah,
getting rid of the ego and allowing then the true potential to flow through. And that really worked for me. And it's helped me sort of rebalance what's going on in my life. It's helped me to make the decision to do the training that we both met on when we did our
yeah,
ILM 7 training through the Business School of Coaching. The coaching I'd had prior to that gave me the confidence that I can do this.
yeah,
And so there we are. So absolutely, it definitely is about opening yourself up to move forward. And
yeah,
in that definitely is the uncomfortable place. You will find some things that you don't want to let go of, but in order to move forward, you have to.
yeah, yeah. No, I completely
Benefits.
understand. I can completely understand. Yeah.
So yeah, so I absolutely, obviously, I'm a big advocate of it because it's what we've chosen to do. It's where we're taking our second chapters of our careers. But it's really important to find that right person, but not just the right person, but the right way to be coached. So how have you found that in both the formats that you've experienced, but also how you're coaching with your clients?
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually because the coaching that I had was all face to face. It was pre-COVID, so we were allowed to do all of that. But I've also, in my corporate career, I would say I spent probably 20 years where most of the work I was doing was virtual. So it meant I was very used to building relationships with, new team members, with new teams, with any stakeholders virtually. So I feel quite comfortable with both. And the way that I've been delivering coaching has been a combination of virtual and in person. I think there's an element, obviously, if you're virtual, having videos on, you see all the hand movements, you see the tilts of the head, you see the eye rolls, everything like that. So reading some of those non-verbal cues helps as a coach to understand where you push a bit more and where you take a gentle retreat and then maybe circle back. But the face to face is also, I think, a more easier and maybe a more natural way to make those connections. And I must say again, with my experience of receiving coaching, the impact was profound. So in terms of self-confidence, that grew really amazingly, and some of that validation and assurance, and also in terms of self-awareness as well. So I know sometimes people use different sort of diagnostic tools, let's say, for within a coaching environment. And I actually use 360-degree feedback, which for me was amazing because, again, it identifies where you've got blind spots. So, where things that I was maybe less confident about, that I had, the perspective from others was, no, 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 she's really confident in that. So, it helped to turn around some of that frame of mind. But also things like you'd said was about some of the blind spots where you go, this is an area actually I do need to focus on. And I would also say that 360-degree feedback, interestingly, when I have those moments of doubt, then I will go back and read what I had as my 360-degree feedback, which then helps reset me. And I know you sort of said before, I love the data. So a bit of that data point is really not spreadsheets. But a few of those data points really help me to reframe maybe where my mind's going, and turn around from reacting to things into, no, I can respond to this in a more thoughtful way. And I think that's really important. You mentioned about vulnerability, and I know we're going to talk a little bit more about the trust element of that in our next podcast. But I think at the time, when we talked about right time, right person, I was actually in a space of being very vulnerable at that time. I'd had a bereavement, and it meant I was a little bit broken down already. And in the long run, I think that actually helped me because it meant that I was already in a position of, I know that something needs to change, but I'm also quite open because I'm going through, a personal emotional change anyway. From my personal life, it almost fitted in really well with, how does that mean that I can now rebuild into what comes next. And I think all of and I know you and I, because we've spoken about it, but we want to be the very best version of ourselves. And I think that the timing, the right coach, then ended up being able to turn me into a better version of myself going forward. So yeah, it was quite a profound impact, I think, for me, which I still reflect on at times of change or at times of doubt. Then I'll still go back and reflect on that. So yeah, it's choosing the right person, but yeah. So I don't know if you've got anything else to add, Theresa, or whether we're ready to think about what the message is for today.
Well, I think we've covered quite a lot off there today, and it's been fantastic. It's so important to choose your right coach and to choose the person that works for you. Find the format. So our message is definitely, what are you looking to get out of this? What's important to you? And then go off and do your research, whether that be through advocacy, whether that be through listening to coaches like us on podcasts or on video clips in LinkedIn, wherever that may be. It's really important to find somebody that you think that you can connect with. So research them, look at their websites, see who's out there and how they conduct their business. Is it through Zoom or through the screen? Is it in person? Maybe you want somebody that you can meet outdoors and it's a walking coach. And then what style do you want? Do you want quite a formal style? Do you want a data-driven style? Want maybe a slightly more creative style? That's me. Do you want it formal, informal? So really have a think about that, but don't restrict yourself to too many barriers because at the end of the day, the chemistry will be there. So if it feels right, 9 times out of 10, it is right. And if you choose the wrong coach, you can get out of it. You don't have to commit. Most coaches will do a chemistry session and there'll be a clause in the contract that said, if this isn't working, we recontract or we end. So you're not stuck. Coaching can be quite expensive, but for the right person, the returns are phenomenal. So I hope that gives you a good idea of where we come from the coaching experience we've had, from the coaching that we offer. And if you think that we're the coach for you, then get in touch with whichever one of us that your chemistry is coming through to, and we would love to work with you. So stay tuned. Episode 3 is coming in 2 weeks' time. And what are we doing in episode 3?
We're looking at sort of the beginnings of the relationship and a bit about the vulnerability side of things as well. So yeah, we'll really look forward to the next chat. I'm sure we'll chat in the meantime, Theresa, because you just can't stop us chatting. But amazing to speak with you again today on this beautiful sunny day. So we'll look forward to the next time.
Can't wait. Take care.